Hello and welcome back to Proactive New York. With me right now is Gerald Commissiong, CEO at Todos Medical. Gerald, good to see you again. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. Gerald, today we are talking about how the group has made its final payment to complete its $10 million acquisition of Provista Diagnostics. Just to back up for a second, just remind us what you found attractive about the group.
Right. So we initially signed an option agreement to acquire Provista back before the pandemic started in January of 2020. And we did that primarily for their intellectual property for the breast cancer test called Videssa, which is a breast cancer test using blood that can really help women determine whether or not they're going to need a biopsy after they've had an inconclusive mammogram. So that was the reason why we bought it. And then along the way, as the pandemic broke out, we used the Provista lab as the breeding ground to be able to establish ourselves in the distribution business. And now that we've completed the acquisition, we're really going to be pushing for actual testing results to be coming out of that lab.
So yeah, talk to me about the kind of expected synergies that are kind of coming online right now.
Sure. So we see synergies in two areas. On the breast cancer side, the Videssa test that we've acquired is really much later stage than our TBIA platform. That is the base of Todos. And because it's so far ahead, it's already been in the market, it's been commercialized. We've got really positive feedback from physicians. And they ran into some financial issues, and that's the reason for the sale. We're now in a position to really take it back into the market in a more financially viable position and market it in a niche way where we can get paid, and then we can use the data that we are going to be gathering from the samples to further help our TBIA platform. So we see it as a nice piggyback, using Videssa as the lead, really getting that out into the marketplace, and then having a one-to-one proxy with our TBIA, and potentially ultimately combining the two down the road. On the PCR testing side, or the COVID testing side, we've done all of our validations and all of our work supporting our clients out of Provista. So we've got a high degree of confidence that they're highly competent and can do a lot of very high capacity stuff after we put so much automation into Provista. And so that now we're going to be transitioning the business away from not only distributing, we're actually be running the test where we have much higher margins.
And I assume that you expect that to increase the volume of those kinds of tests because of the increase in the Delta variant.
Yes, yeah. So we see testing increases in two directions. One, obviously PCR testing is going up because the positivity rate's going up. As positivity rates go up, there are mandated expansions of testing and screening testing for various groups. And so those watermarks are being triggered. And so now there's a scramble for testing capacity that has, come down since over the last 6 months. And then two, we're all hearing about vaccinated people and breakthrough infections and how much protection, is really out there nowadays. And so we've also spent the last several months getting the neutralizing antibody test that we call CPAS, and has an EUA into the market as well. So we really see growth in both of those areas, to see if you're sick, whether or not you've been vaccinated, and if you have been vaccinated or you think you've had a prior infection with COVID, whether or not you have protection via neutralizing antibodies.
And it looks like you are also strengthening your marketing team as well. You mentioned marketing early on.
Correct. So, what we've had over the last year as we've gotten into COVID has really been lab to lab sales, not so much lab direct to, physician or, prescriber of the tests or employers. And now with our own lab, we're really now becoming the face of that testing with the end buyer. And so we think that leverages us to, one, obviously do more testing of COVID, but two, to interface with those, those parties to be able to offer them other tests, ultimately our Videssa breast cancer test.
Look forward to following your efforts here, Gerald. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.